There are moments when life feels like it's falling apart piece by piece. You wake up with a weight in your chest, a heaviness that won't lift no matter how much you pray, cry, or try to pretend you're okay. You wonder if anyone sees the battle you're in, especially God. And that question, it lingers. If He's real, if He loves me, why does everything hurt so much? In these moments, it's easy to let fear take the lead. It's tempting to believe the lie that faith is only for the good days, the clear answers, the smooth paths. But the truth is, real faith is forged in fire. It grows in the silence. It matures in the questions. The shaking doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're alive, still holding on, still hoping when everything says to give up. Your faith may tremble, but it doesn't have to fall, because you are not alone in the shaking. Remember this: God never promised a life without storms, but He did promise that He would be with you in the middle of them. Think about Peter walking on water. For a moment, his eyes were fixed on Jesus. He did the impossible. But when the wind howled and the waves rose, fear crept in. His faith shook. He began to sink. And yet, Jesus didn't let him drown. That moment wasn't failure. It was grace. Jesus reached out immediately, took hold of him, and said, "You of little faith, why did you doubt?" Not to shame him, but to remind him, even shaken faith is still faith, and He honors it. So when you feel like you're sinking, when the waves of worry, the winds of doubt, and the weight of life crash over you, don't give up. Look up. Even if your hands are trembling, reach for Him. Faith is not the absence of fear. It's choosing to believe despite it. Shaken faith means you're still holding on, even when everything inside you wants to let go. And that is strength. God understands your humanity. He knows your doubts, your questions, your fragile hope. And still, He stays. He walks with you in your confusion. He whispers peace into your storms. He is patient. He is present. In the moments you can't pray, He hears the silence. In the moments you can't see the way, He guides your steps. And when your faith feels like a flicker in the dark, He protects it like a flame. The strength of your faith is not in how steady it feels, but in who you place it in. Let your heart rest in that. Sometimes, we expect faith to feel like certainty, like boldness, like power. But often, true faith feels like trembling, like waiting, like not knowing what comes next, but showing up anyway. Do not let your faith be shaken by the absence of answers. God is not absent in your waiting. He is working, often invisibly, always intentionally. What feels like delay is often divine preparation. When things fall apart, it's not always the end. Sometimes, it's the beginning of something better than you imagined. Faith clings to that hope, even when it hurts. And when you feel like you're failing, like your doubts disqualify you, remember, Jesus never turned away the doubters. He drew closer. He reached out. He lifted them. He is doing the same for you. Keep holding on. Faith isn't loud. It isn't always confident. Sometimes, faith is quiet. It's choosing to whisper, "I still believe," when everything inside you wants to give up. It's the courage to pray when you're not even sure God is listening. It's opening your Bible when every word feels distant. It's getting up in the morning with the weight of anxiety or sorrow and saying, "God, I'm still here." That's faith. That's strength. Jesus never said the walk would be easy, but He did say, "Take heart, I have overcome the world." And that includes your world, your chaos, your confusion, your heartbreak. So if your faith is small today, that's okay. Even mustard seed faith moves mountains. Just don't let go. Sometimes the enemy whispers, "Where is your God now?" He taunts you with silence. He points to your pain. He reminds you of your past. But here's what you need to remember. Satan is a liar. God is not absent just because he's quiet. In the silence, God is doing deep work. He is shaping you, refining your character, building endurance in your spirit. It's in the silence that roots grow deeper. God doesn't waste silence. He doesn't ignore your cries. He's not playing games with your heart. His timing is perfect, even when it feels unbearable. So when the silence stretches longer than you expected, lean in, not away. Read his promises. Repeat them out loud if you have to. Hold on to the truth that his word does not return void. He is still working. He is still with you, even in this. Think about the times in your life when you grew the most. Chances are those weren't moments of comfort and ease. They were moments of stillness, of testing, of wrestling with God in the dark. Faith doesn't grow when all the answers are clear. It grows when we walk blindly yet trustfully. When Abraham walked up the mountain to sacrifice his son, he didn't have a full plan. He didn't know the outcome, but he trusted. When the Israelites stood at the Red Sea, they didn't see a path forward, but God made a way where there was none. And when Jesus was in the tomb, the world went silent. But that silence was just the pause before the greatest victory. So if it feels like your world is quiet, don't despair. The silence might just be the space before resurrection. Stay close to God, even when he's quiet, especially then. There's a reason silence is uncomfortable. It confronts us with our fears, our questions, our weaknesses. But it also offers us a chance to go deeper, beyond noise, beyond distraction, into the raw core of faith. Faith that thrives in silence is unshakable. It's built not on what we see or hear, but on who we know God to be. And this is what the silence teaches us: that God is faithful, even when we don't feel it. That he is good even when the world is not. That he is near, even when heaven seems closed. The silence is not abandonment. It is invitation. An invitation to trust without condition, to believe without proof, to wait without answers. And those who accept that invitation find a peace the world cannot touch, because they've learned the secret. When God is silent, he is still working, still present, still love. What if God's silence is actually his mercy? What if it's not a punishment or neglect, but a divine pause, giving us space to finally listen? In the noise of life, we talk too much. We run too fast. We fill every moment with words and worry. But in silence, God gives us room to breathe, to stop striving, to be still. Maybe this quiet is where your healing begins. Not by answers raining down from heaven, but by letting go of the need for them. Sometimes faith isn't found in a voice from the clouds. Sometimes it's forged in the stillness of your soul. So be still. Feel the weight of silence press gently on your heart. Let it settle in, not as a burden, but as a blessing. Because even in silence, you are not alone. God is nearer than you think, closer than breath. And in the stillness, if you stay long enough, you might just hear him, softly, surely, whispering to your spirit, "I'm here. I never left." There's something sacred in choosing to trust when there's nothing to hold on to but God's character. No answered prayers, no visible signs, just the memory of his past faithfulness and the hope that he hasn't changed. That's where real trust lives, not in certainty, but in surrender. And when you let go of your grip on outcomes, your heart finally learns to rest, not because the pain is gone, not because everything is fixed, but because you've decided that God is enough, even here, even now. So don't let silence scare you. Let it become the altar where your fear turns to faith. Let it become the place where you stop running and start resting. Let it become holy ground, because the God who spoke galaxies into being still sees you, still hears you, and even when he's quiet, he's still working. Wait on him, not passively, but with a soul anchored in hope. Trust isn't proven when God speaks. It's proven when he doesn't and you still believe.